Brian, it's great to be with you. I've had the opportunity to read your first book, Save Me From Myself. There it is right there. And actually, my son turned me on to it. He had read it already this fall, and he gave it to me over Thanksgiving weekend, and so I read through it. It's a great read, and it was a great story, hearing about your life as you were growing up, your time in Korn, and then your time just shortly after you left Korn. And actually, it seems to go not too far past that. So, which is great, because that leads into your new book that's coming in. That just came out, Stronger, which is actually a 40-day devotional. And if we could hold on to that for a moment, because I want to get back to Stronger in a minute. But what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about your life growing up. And, as I read your book, it was my impression that you grew up in a relatively quote-unquote normal family. You had a mom and dad. They were entrepreneurs, and you got teased as a kid. Growing up, I felt similar kinds of things going on. How would you talk to kids now about dealing with those kinds of problems? Given everything that you've gone through and the fact that you've received Christ, trying to get them to make the good decisions.
I'd say just God changes all that, because we were a normal, non-spiritual family. We were just an average family that didn't have faith.
Sure.
So we were good people, and then we had issues like other families, and but normal things that went on. But I'd say just invite Jesus into your life and really try to know Him. He's the good one. He's the one that's done everything right, because we're screwed up. So it's hard to push ourselves to do right, because we're so programmed to rebel and do wrong.
Right. Well, and that's why I asked you about the decisions, because I think as we go along in life, it really comes down to the decisions that we make. Given everything that you've been through, it would seem to be every decision that you made, every decision that any person makes, takes them down a certain path, whatever path that is. And if it's a path, and if they're not making a decision for Christ, they're ultimately making a decision away from Christ.
Yeah, and it's like you're right. It's like you're driving through life, and you choose the roads you turn on, and then you're on that road, and then sometimes you get driving down that road, and it takes a while to get back once you realize that you got to turn around.
Right.
So.
Right. What would you say? What would you say is the biggest thing that stood out to you and made you want to receive Christ as your Savior and submit your life to Him?
The biggest thing is that He's real, and that you can encounter Him. Because it's like He'll make you feel like you and Him are the only ones on earth. Sometimes, it just makes you feel that special too. Like He'll make you feel that special to Him. Mm-hmm. And it's just, when I found out He was real and not just some story to try to make people have a good life, a productive citizen.
Yeah.
But I found out He's real, and that He speaks in different ways today. I was like, that was fun to me. I wanted to figure out this God, and this Spirit and everything.
Okay. So now, in talking to kids, you play to a whole raft of kids, throughout the year. You're traveling around, and in talking to kids on this interview, as they're watching, you just said Jesus is real. I mean, He's really real?
Oh, yeah. And the most effective prayer you can pray is, Jesus, if you're real, then show me. And if you pray that, and you're consistent with it, and you don't stop until you get your answer, He'll show you He's real.
Right.
For sure.
Right. And this is coming from the guy who ranks number 26 on the top all-time list of heavy metal guitarists. So.
Oh, that was one issue. I think they made a mistake.
Let's see. I was watching an interview with you, and you had said that what you took with you, you lost. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I left the money and the fame and my career and everything, and it seemed like the things that I took with me, as far as like the money, the millions that I had put away and stashed, and I started wanting to do stuff by faith and step out there and show God that I didn't trust in that stuff anymore. So I went out and I did stuff by faith, believing things would happen, and it seems like I failed at a lot of stuff. My book went out and it helped a lot of people and all that, but a lot of that stuff I lost. I lost the house, lost the car, I lost all this stuff, bad business. It's all has to do with money. That's pretty much. But I gained Christ. You know, it says that, and I was just reading Philippians, and it says that, you know, Paul said, I forget how it's worded, but because of Christ, he lost all things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, I can relate to that, because it's like, I'm just kind of cruising through life right now, but it's coming back. The stuff's coming back, but at one point I lost it all.
It's pretty cool. I'm smiling because I was just asked by my son what my favorite verse is, and I said, I don't know the exact reference, and plenty of verses, but Philippians chapter 3, you know, is what I quoted to him. Forgetting what was behind.
That's it. Yeah.
His head. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Very cool.
That's cool.
I got a question for you. Would you, and I'm not looking to open anything up, but there was a conversation that you had with your former bandmates, and you guys threw some things around, and there was, you know, talk of maybe you opening for Korn.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever do that?
It just sounds weird to me,
Why
but
that?
I don't know, because we haven't spoken or hung out in a room together, except me and the bass player did, but the rest of the guys know. But would I ever do it? I wouldn't go back to Korn, because it's just that's going backwards. You know, I'm not going to do that, and I don't want to. I have no desire to. But opening.
The reason why I ask is because there's a lot of interest in certain bands, Christian bands, opening for non-Christian artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those from different genres. So, and that's why I ask, because, you know, obviously, given your former association with Korn and given Korn's, position in the music world and whatnot, it certainly would be a good venue to present the gospel.
Yeah, totally. But you know, it'd have to be meant to be. You know, I wouldn't just go because it's still, we would have to at least get in a room and hang out a little bit before that happened.
Sure. And that's one thing I gotta say. I've always seen it was kind of cool that the good relationship that you had with your bandmates. I thought that was kind of neat the way you talked about that in the book, and also just how much you still express, you know, feelings for them. Now, I understand that, and I haven't read any of it, that there was, you know, a little bit of conflict going back and forth. But, you know, like you said, you and the bass player got together and hung out, and, you know, you still readily express love for those guys.
Yeah, I wish the best for them.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's really important. All right, so one more question, not related to the book. The Whosoevers. What's that all about?
That's just a movement that me and Sonny from POD and a friend of ours named Ryan, Ryan got saved from, he was a junkie, heroin junkie, and, you know, coke and everything, and traveled with skateboard tours and stuff like that, and we all got together and said, why don't we get together and get a bunch of people that have a calling, put our callings together, see if we could do something on a bigger level, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're just trying to start, a new movement, you know, to get people like on fire to live a death to life type of lifestyle, and just a real like the real disciples, you know. We're trying to just get people excited about their faith again and stuff.
Right. Whosoever will call on the name, right?
Yeah, whosoever shall call on the name.
Very cool. Now, Brian, your recent book, which just came out yesterday, is Stronger. Tell me a little bit about that book.
Stronger it's a 40-day devotional type of book, but it's like kind of a memoir. Like my first one, it, like you were saying earlier, it takes off from my last book kind of and just talks about story. But it also goes back in the past. So, but each day is a different story, whether it's life today for me or life back then, or sometimes I break apart scriptures and find the deep hidden meaning, the mystery behind the words, and I feel God has given me that gift, so it's cool to share that. And I also got my friend Joshua Clay, who did art illustrations. So like whatever the for like half of the chapters he drew whatever I was talking about, and just abstract, crazy looking drawings. So it's really unique.
I saw the one picture of you.
Oh yeah. Oh, you saw it? You got a copy? Cool.
I saw the picture on the internet. We had pre-ordered the book, and the book is actually supposed to arrive the next day or two.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my son really wanted it, and so we're looking forward to getting it to him. But the thing I thought was kind of cool about the book is, several years ago, Rick Warren came out with a book called The 40 Days of Purpose, and that was great for adults, great for kids and whatnot. But in a way, you've got a 40-day devotional that can be utilized in a similar fashion for teenagers, and just to communicate the Word of God to them. And
yeah, hopefully God will use it like that, and
that's awesome.
Get people fired up,
That's right. Well, and that's what it's all about, getting excited for Jesus and really seriously following Him, right?
It's fun. It's really fun, and I know there's trials that come against it that try to, persuade us to get away from God and do other things, and I get those challenges too. But once you really get in there with God and like be disciplined, and as a disciple comes from the word discipline, and you realize it's like the funnest thing ever.
Sure.
Because it's like eternal, God's there for our life after death, and it's like He's there already, and He can give us glimpses of that place. So there's nothing more funner than that to me.
Yeah. That's great. Now, Brian, one last question for you, and then we'll be done. But, gang members, lots of times will have tattoos on their eyes, and they'll fill in teardrops with people that they know have died. And I see you've got something similar on your right eye. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, that's the old me died. Well, it means to me, it means like the cross and the pain in the cross. Jesus is like agonizing pain, and then our cross that we have to carry, and the pain that we carry, and it's a sad part of the faith that we have to go through, but it's a necessary part. And this side's the happier side with musical notes. It's my calling. And I also got a tattoo here of a child's face, and it's like blood coming from the tears. Just eyes closed and blood, and just symbolizes the hard walk we have in the faith. Exactly. And then on this side, there's a bright, beautiful, like happy child face. So it's just that, that's what that symbolizes to me.
Very cool. Very cool.
I didn't kill anybody.
No, I know. I knew a little bit of the background of that tattoo. That's why I asked.
Oh, cool.
I wanted people to hear that.
Right on.
But Brian, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.